Hey, good afternoon, guys. Sorry to be having this update again when it seems to be going from bad to worse. Nevertheless, before we go around the states for an update, I'd like to introduce to you Billy Cox, who joined Fitness Australia just recently as our Business Development Manager. Billy has developed a program for next week. Basically, it's a webinar program of 4 webinars. They will carry CEC points with them, and they're designed to basically give you some assistance and some help while we are all, well, not all of us, but when the majority of us in Australia are in lockdown. So Billy, let you have a very quick summary of your program for next week. Thank you for joining us, and we'll go around the states.
Absolutely. So hopefully you can see the screen. So yeah, we are putting on a webinar series next week, kicking off on Monday. Every day it will be at 1 p.m. We'll be sending out later in the week. Sorry, the screen's not. So 1 p.m. daily. Each of the webinars will be worth 1 CEC point each. There'll be individual registrations for each day. So if you can't attend all 5, that's fine. You can just jump into 1 or 2, but of course we'd love to see you on all of them. We've got some fantastic industry experts. So kicking off the week, we've got Damn Good Productions. They'll be doing a session on how to sort of really create pivot online, basically, what microphones you could be using to have really great sound. We've got the Social Media College doing some great content on ways to really have your business out there at the moment. H&R Block talking about the current situation and how you can look at working with your tax. We've got fitness expert Travis, and we've also got Kylie Stone talking about resilience in the industry. So really great lineup. You'll be getting some EDMs and social media posts about how to register later in the week. So hopefully we see you at 1 o'clock every day next week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Billy. So that program, obviously, for our members is free of charge, and as Billy indicated, will carry CEC points with it. Now, before we go around for a state-by-state basis, the quick question came up there about will we be giving any dispensation for CPR and First Aid because of the situations with the lockdowns? Yes, I'm pretty sure we will be doing that, just as we have extended or suspended membership or extended membership by 1 month at this stage as well. We'll review that depending on how long these lockdowns go for. Also, we put out a press release today to the media asking the federal government to reinstate JobKeeper as of immediately. Because of the situation, looks like we're going to be in these lockdowns on again, off again for the rest of the year at least. It's only appropriate that the federal government step in and support businesses, all small businesses, including our sector. We've put the argument that there is no rent relief. There is very little support really that's coming out from state and federal. And what is there is nowhere near sufficient to what it was with JobKeeper. So we are calling for the federal government to reinstate JobKeeper immediately and leave it in place to be turned on once a lockdown is instigated by any state government. Steve, perhaps we'll go to you first in South Australia.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. So obviously a fair bit's changed since our last catch up, with South Australia now being in a full lockdown. They're actually referring to it as a stay-at-home order. So essentially, there's very few reasons to leave your home at this point. Those reasons are care and compassionate reasons, essential work, which we don't fall in. There's a list on the SA government website. Gyms in no way fall into essential work. Purchase of essential goods such as food, medical reasons, and then also exercise. So that's a positive. The exercise needs to be for no longer than 90 minutes per day, 2.5 kilometres within your home, and only with a person that resides in your same house. So effectively what that means is that even outdoor personal training, that kind of stuff, is not allowed at this stage. So it's everything apart from, I suppose, online virtual classes needs to cease at the moment. The online virtual classes have to be done from your home. You can't attend a gym to film those classes. It needs to be done from your home at this stage. So this is a 7-day lockdown that we're going in at this point. The positives are that there was only 1 additional case overnight, which is a great result considering the amount of tests that were conducted. So we are looking at that as a significant step forward. Hopefully, if we see low or hopefully no cases in the coming days, there'll be considerations made to potentially bring that lockdown forward, but we really need to wait and see what happens with that. So for the time being, we are in that full lockdown. Also announced today and late yesterday were some points on financial support for businesses and individuals. So for individuals, there's going to be a $375 payment, which will be made for people who lose between 8 to 20 hours of work during the week. You'll be able to apply for that at the end of this week. Can't apply for that now. It will be at the end of the week. For those people who have lost more than 20 hours of work for the week, they'll be eligible for $600. So in order to apply for that, that's a federal government support grant. You'll need to have a MyGov account. So if you haven't got that already, make sure you sign up and have that ready to go. And then at the end of the week, you'll be able to apply for that, and you'll be potentially, if you're eligible, paid retrospectively as of at the end of the week. So that's really important. The other thing that was announced today was support for small businesses. This was a state government initiative that has been announced. So cash grants of $3,000 will be made available to small and medium businesses who are significantly impacted by this current lockdown. Gyms will potentially be included in that. There are, again, eligibility criteria which we are looking into at the moment. So it's not just free 3,000 for everybody. There are eligibility criteria, which is really important, but gyms are potentially included in that, which is a great step forward as well. Same thing, can't apply at the moment. It will be something later in the week that will be paid retrospectively. So that's basically all at this stage from South Australia. Nothing significant to report in the NT with regard to restrictions and those types of things. Obviously, I think almost all states have closed their borders to South Australia, which you can understand at this point.
Thanks, Steve. David Lewis over in WA.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. No change since our last catch-up last time. Currently, no restrictions are in place over here. Just obviously best practice in terms of hygiene and physical distancing where possible. Contact registers being used. From a border perspective, South Australia moved to a low-risk status recently. And I think it's really just watch and wait and see, really. I was just on a call with industry and the police, and that's really the outlook from police as well. It's just waiting to watch to see what happens, especially around border controls at this stage. We had a couple of instances just with marine, just with ships coming through Fremantle, and then one that moved on to New Zealand. The ship that's currently docked in Fremantle has got 10 cases on there, but they're all quarantined on the ship. And support from Department of Health, of course. But at this stage, Barry, no change from last time.
Thanks, David. David Batty, I think you're going to cover off for Queensland for today.
Yeah, I'll cover off Queensland all the way down to Tasmania. So I'll start with Queensland. The mask requirement's still there, though that may change over the next short period of time. I believe over the next week or so, they're looking at removing that mask requirement for indoor. Down in ACT, there is no changes in any of the restrictions in the ACT. Tasmania, there's no change in restrictions either. New South Wales, now, yeah, I'm just reading one of the questions relating to masks. I'm guessing that was for regional New South Wales. There is no change at the moment forecast for mask requirements for classes in regional New South Wales. They're going to continue that on as it stands, as there has been a couple of seating events that have pushed out to those regional areas, and they're really trying to lock down on and not trying to shut down businesses, but try to reduce the amount of exposure people have. So that is one of the things that they're going to hold firm on for a period of time, but hopefully as things start to come under heel and there's less seating events out of that Sydney outbreak, then there will be other changes. But while there's still possibility of seating out in the regional areas, I apologise, but there won't be any changes to those mask requirements for classes.
David, what's the story in Orange?
Orange and that whole area is in a 7-day full lockdown as per what would be in Metro. Sydney, they're going to close all non-essential businesses for that area as well. So they've all been notified for that. So that has been added to the metro area for the 7 days, and they believe that they'll get it under control quite quickly, and they may withdraw those earlier if they can. So they'll just see the numbers, testing numbers and things like that will dictate whether that is a possibility.
Okay, Victoria.
Victoria, today they just went through the announcements of the numbers. The numbers are all looking good. Having a chat to the Sport and Rec department here, they are confident that there will be some form of opening post, and that the new grants that are being issued will also start flowing into people's bank accounts quite quickly. They've said that most people's transfer of their first fund for this lockdown should have already occurred. And if it hasn't, please contact myself, because I can actually pass your details directly on to small business to get that sorted out. But they say that first payment should have been paid, and the second payment, which will be $2,800, which was announced today, will go into your account automatically as well. Now, for the people who cannot qualify for GST and have the smaller businesses, it was also shown that the government funding will actually apply to those people as well. So if you have a small business that doesn't register for GST, you're able to apply for the federal government grants, which is the $375 and $650 grants.
Okay, and we have a video hookup with the Victorian bureaucracy or bureaucrats that are dealing with this situation in our sector on Friday.
We do.
If there's any significant update coming out of that, that'll be posted on our socials after that event. Before we go into the questions, I had a conversation last night and then again this morning with a couple of people here in New South Wales that are absolutely devastated with what's happening again here, and obviously it's happening down in Victoria as well. Can I just encourage anyone on this call, if you, no matter what state you're in, and ideally you're in a state which is not in lockdown, if you have colleagues or friends that are in a state which is in lockdown, just give them a call, send them a message, send them a text, whatever, just check in with them, because the feeling from the people I've been speaking with is quite different to last year. Last year during the lockdowns, people were angry, they were frustrated, didn't know what was going on and that sort of gear. This year, it seems to me there's a lot more despair and demoralisation out there. And I think a lot of our members and your colleagues are really suffering. So anything you can do to just reach out, check in with them, send them a text, whatever, give them a call, let them know that you're with them and you're sharing their concerns and so on. I'm sure that would be appreciated. So let's go to the questions. David, you usually cop most of these, but let's have a look. Mask in New South Wales, we've covered that off. The CPR and First Aid, yes, that will be extended. Just moving down here, JobKeeper. From Danny, I'm guessing once New South Wales lockdown ends on the 30th of July, gyms will open up late on that in the program. I really hope you're right, Danny. I don't perhaps share your confidence that the lockdown will finish on next Friday. I hope you're right, but there was an epidemiologist on TV this morning saying it'll be at least until September. Now, we need to understand that a lot of epidemiologists like their 5 minutes of fame, and if they can say something controversial, they get the media coverage, but let's hope that the 30th is still right. One thing that has happened here in New South Wales is, despite the construction industry being shut down last weekend, they've been told already they'll be opening on the 1st of August. So something is obviously in the mix there, and hopefully that'll apply across the board. Has there been any recorded cases of transmission in any fitness facility exposure sites around Australia? You'd be the expert on this, David.
Okay, yes, there have been some cases linked to exposure sites around the country throughout the whole of the pandemic. There hasn't been a lot. I think the largest number of people was 11 people, and that was a breakup in Sydney where a person was working for 5 full days full time while infectious in a gym facility as a personal trainer, and that only had 11 people fall ill. Most of the times what's been happening within gyms, the few cases has been somebody's turned up with their friend to go to the gym and spotting them and training with them, and that person has become ill as well, but they've also gone to cafes and restaurants and all other things together, but that was a common time that they were together. So there has been exposures where there has been transmission, but it's been very limited, especially compared to other industries.
And especially compared to hospitality and retail, which is the one which often gets the jump on us. But so thanks, David. Question for David Victoria. I received 5K for the first 2 weeks of May, June, but not the further top up of 2 for the third week. Monday this week, I've received 2K, which indicated it belonged to the 5-day lockdown. Is that right?
That sounds correct to me. That means there is a one-off payment that looks like that you didn't receive. So I would contact the government. Otherwise, forward it to me and I'll pass it on through small business. Okay. Our beloved Prime Minister is going to be speaking soon on TV. Let's hope it's about JobKeeper. We can only hope. We can only hope. Usually you'd find that would be the Treasurer that would make that announcement as well, though. So. Yeah. And usually he would do it on one of his favourite media stations more than public. But anyway. To enforce, I think this question is, if you try and enforce mask wearing but can't do it, who's at fault? The instructor or the PT or the gym manager or the client? So the idea being that if you're running a business, that you must ensure that people are complying. But in saying that, if somebody is refusing to comply, you are also not the police, so you can't strong arm them into doing such a thing. You can remove them, ask them to leave your facility, or you can call the police if you believe that they are a risk, but they also may have a legitimate reason for not wearing a mask. So we've also got to consider these as a top up. So if the person has a medical condition or some other reason that they are not wearing a mask, that also has to be taken into account. Yeah, so I think it's best endeavours. If you can't, obviously, as David said, you're not the police, you can't enforce things, it's not your role. All you can do is encourage. And as Ruth said, perhaps advise them that they shouldn't be doing the training. That's probably not inappropriate either. But it's one of those difficult situations where decisions are made and we have to enact them at the coalface. So we've got a question through from Linda. Do I have the details of the micro business government support in New South Wales? The micro business government support is just the federal government support. So it isn't actually anything additional to the government support. It would be the federal government support of a payment of $650. So that's where that one comes up. Yep. Okay, I think that is the end of the questions. So I will thank you, gentlemen, and I think Billy's left us, but I encourage people to join in on these webinars next week. Hopefully it'll be of information and value to you. CECs, free, only for members obviously, but there's some interesting topics and some very good presenters and speakers. Thanks for dialing in. We'll be updating as things progress and hopefully get better. Please stay safe. Please reach out to your colleagues who are maybe experiencing more difficult times than you are and share your support. Thanks, guys. Thank you all.